My name is Stephen Kelly. I was in the United States Navy for 8 years. I was a second-class petty officer. Oh, that's an interesting question. My view of the military as a kid. I didn't really have kind of like a view of the military as a kid. My grandfather was actually in World War II, but he never really shared a lot of that information with us, like what it was like for him or anything else like that. There were a lot of Vietnam vets and World War II vets in our area growing up, but it was kind of like their own secret club kind of a thing. And I never really asked, I never really pried, but my inspiration for joining the military is actually because I was getting evicted. So it was kind of like I lost my job, I was getting evicted, and I needed to do something pretty quick, and I made a really kind of an impulse decision. So I was 19, I had just, I'd been out of high school for about a year. I was working as a mechanic, a car mechanic, and when I was younger, I was a little ill-tempered and kind of wasn't managing emotions right, wasn't managing, my time schedule right, finances right, the whole 9 yards, and I was losing my apartment, and I just needed something to do, so I went and I didn't actually have like a branch of the military that I was like set on. So I went to the recruiter's office, and the only guy in the office was the Navy recruiter, a guy named Chief King, who has since retired. I actually did a deployment with him. Chief King, he did the job. He got me enlisted, and I left in like a week and a half, when I told him exactly what was going on. So that's how I joined. I was stationed in Hawaii, I was stationed in San Diego, and how I got here to wonderful Fresno, California, is being stationed in Lemoore. Hawaii's dope. The locals are great people. I actually, from time to time, really miss local Hawaiians, because they were super warm and super welcoming. They're very respectful, across the board. The local Hawaiians are dope individuals. Being stationed in San Diego was kind of culture shock, because I had come from Hawaii. I'd been stationed in Hawaii first. I'd been stationed in San Diego for school, but I was only there for 6 months, so it really wasn't a real fair judgment. But coming back and being stationed there a second time for almost about 2 years that was different. The second time around is different, mainly because I went on a really long deployment out of there, and then when I got back from said long deployment, they sent me to beautiful Lemoore, California. I was fortunate enough when I joined the military that there were people who had joined before me, who had really made a lot of progress in the Navy prior to me joining, and I happened to have three really good senior enlisted guys throughout the years that kind of put me in my place, so to speak. One was a guy named Petty Officer Fox. He's actually our RDC and swim day and boot camp, right? The myth about I never knew the myth about black people not being able to swim, which it still in my head sounds ridiculous, but I did learn that day that myth was kind of semi-true. But I remember he looked at our chief RDC, and he basically looked. They gave each other this mutual look, because our chief RDC was a white dude, but he was like, "I'm gonna pull off to the side and kind of take the black dudes to the side for a second." And he did. He pulled us to the side and was like, "All right, check this out. If you can't swim, you need to say so now." So he in that day, he was always straight with us, hey, you don't have to do certain things because they're already done for you. I had a guy when I was stationed in Hawaii two individuals when I was stationed in Hawaii. One was AZ1 Lewis. He was super hard on me, and at first I was like, I don't understand. I couldn't comprehend, I couldn't pull it together. And then one day he pulled me to the side, literally took me into the bathroom and flashed on me and was like, you don't get to do or act up because I cut my teeth and made a way for you. So he was like hard on us. Like he was more hard on like the black guys in our command. Even if he didn't work in your job, he was more hard on you than, let's say, the white guys were, or like the white senior enlisted guys, or like the Asian enlisted guys or Hispanic enlisted guys. But he was definitely like, you're not gonna do that. And then I had Senior Chief Winrow, who, if you saw us standing side by side, you'd think he's my dad, just short, like way shorter. But he was another one that was like, hey, you're talented, but your attitude sucks, and if you keep it up, I'm gonna throat punch you. I actually think those were his words. But being black in the military, being black in the Navy, I can't speak for all branches in the military, but I can tell you that the black community within the Navy, if they become senior enlisted, they'll put you in your place. People cut their teeth for you to be here, not just to be here like in a physical presence, but to be able to actually progress and do certain things and grow certain things. And if you don't take advantage of it, they'll shun you. They'll shun you as a person. They'll like literally dismiss you. Oh no, I just didn't want to sleep in my car. That was my main motivator. Joining the Navy changed my life. I won't pull any punches. I wasn't on like a great path at 19, not at all. I mean, I'm telling you that like I'll accept responsibility for like not having my act together at 19. Not that any 19-year-old has their act together. But one thing I'll say is like joining the military did change everything for me. It changed my trajectory, taught me work ethic, taught me stronger responsibility, a different sense of honesty. Because not being completely forthcoming in the military has consequences, not just for you, but for everyone involved. So Veterans Day for me, what does it mean to me? I mean, it's really like, that's basically almost like a decade of my life that I spent with other individuals, serving a larger mission as a whole. I think Veterans Day is a good way, a solid way to kind of honor them as a whole, as like veterans as a whole community. How can I say it? I think that the veteran community does put forth like the veteran community itself does put together a good amount of effort to try to check on one another. But the veteran affairs, not to slam them as a whole, but there's not another representative group. But the government could definitely do a lot better for some of our combat vets. Mental health services for them, placement services for them. Not just TAPS class and they're getting ready to get out of the military or whatever, real actual programs for them to acclimate back into normal life, because the combat guys gave a lot. They gave a lot, and it's not just something that they're entitled to. They're actually owed. The combat guys are actually owed a debt, and in this country we do a terrible job of paying them back for it. You know, for years they would deny guys disability claims for mental health services, PTSD, and that's not just this last, most recent conflicts. That's a historical thing. You hear about guys come back from World War II with shell shock. Same thing with Vietnam. guys suffer from nightmares. I know a guy who can't go to Disneyland because of the fireworks. So when you look at these guys and what could be done, free therapy, something, I'm not a medical doctor. I couldn't answer the question in its entirety, but a lot of times it comes down to money and them just not wanting, literally not wanting to help these guys, knowing, and you can look at them, talk to them, and hear it in their voice that they're going through it. I try to focus a lot of that extra energy on physical things. That's helped me. I know that there's some guys that also take part in said thing, and I try to stay very, very, very busy. The older guys, us younger guys, I would consider myself younger in comparison to some of the guys that I know, so the vets that I know. Just listen to them. Some of the older guys just want to talk. Sometimes talking for those guys just lets them vent, and it doesn't always have to be with another veteran. Also, don't judge them too quickly. Getting out of the military is actually, your first couple years out of the military is probably the hardest. Aside from the fact that they're used to getting a paycheck on the 1st to 15th and having a very structured life, they're walking into a whole new world, especially if they joined really young at like 18, 19, 17, 18, 19. They're walking into a world that they're not used to. So kind of give them that benefit of the doubt that they're still a young person, even if they just did 4 years or they did 10 years. Even if you join at 18, you do 20 years, you're only 38 when you retire. So, give them that space to kind of like be, I don't want to say be respectful, because respect is a thing that's earned, but not everybody who gets out of the military is broken either. So, give them that benefit of the doubt. They're just they're still a regular Joe. They just happen to have worn a uniform for a period of time, and they probably laugh at some jokes that you wouldn't laugh at. Most reactions of people, you being in uniform, is like a thank you for your service, or like they'll have questions for you, stuff like that. They'll ask certain things like, oh, what does that ribbon mean, or what does that mean? Because the difference in what you wear on your chest, in particular for the Navy, the insignias are very different from like the Army. The Air Force insignias are different. Same thing for the Marine Corps. So they, it's a different ball of wax. And some of our stuff looks weird, so they might not actually be able to recognize what they are. So, oh, weird thing, cops will take pictures with you. It's super random. The police officers will actually stop you and take pictures with you. It is the most random thing ever. Like, I've been literally stopped in the grocery store. This was like 2006 or 7. I was coming off duty and I was in my dress blues. I think I was at like a retirement ceremony or something like that. I said the most random cop just walked up to me. I was like, hey brother, let's take a picture. And I was like, I have no idea who you are, sir, but okay, I guess we're doing selfies on your flip phone, so let's do it. Pass and review. That's the first time, pass and review is the first time you actually wear your full uniform. That's Navy graduation. Dress whites. God, it was so hot. It's like 105 degrees. Felt like it anyway. But you're in an all white uniform, and the only thing I could think of in my entire brain the whole day was, I really don't want to get this dirty, because I have no way to clean it. But that was basically, it felt cool. Like, I felt cool. Like, I almost thought it was like, I don't know if anybody shares this, but it's almost like you're like, oh, I'm actually in the military now. Like, boot camp's one thing, but I just graduated from boot camp, so that means I actually have to go do the job. this is weird now. That's literally what kind of went through my brain, especially as we were going to, as we left Chicago, or Great Lakes, and went to Florida. It was like, uh-oh, we're getting closer to that, to a ship. This is kind of weird.